Blackburn Rovers hoping to restore some local pride when they entertain neighbours Preston North End this weekend at Ewood Park, and we'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview, this time looking forward to Blackburn Rovers' next championship match up against Preston North End this weekend, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related, whoa, football related. We're going to all here under one roof. Now let's jump into the thick of things and take a look at the match in a little bit more detail. It does take place this weekend over at Ewood Park, and that is the 9th of March, and Preston North End are still managed by Alex Neil after a very, very sticky start to the season. They look pretty good. But last season, they did finish as high as 7th, just outside the old, those magical playoff spots. But they probably still have aspirations to get there this season because they are red hot at the moment, and they've hit form just about the right time. Obviously, this last few games could build up to a nice little extended run into your playoffs. And last time that these two sides met at Ewood Park ended up as a 2-2 draw, and that was on the 18th of March, 2017. That was at Ewood Park. Obviously, we got a bit of a spanking earlier in the season down at Deepdale. Now, over the years, we have met North End 102 times. We've only won 31 of them, drawn 29, and lost 42. So let's take a look at my starting lineups. Now, before we get into it, just a quick summary of any suspensions or injuries we have for Blackburn Rovers. We still have these 3 players recognised as injured. Gladwin is still out. He's going to be out for the season, as is Dominic Samuel. Darren Lenihan is expected to come back around about mid-March, so probably next week or so. As for suspensions, we got nobody. So this is my expected 11. Now, we can't really, obviously, our form is, we'll look at the form book in a minute, but it's absolutely woeful, basically. Bottom of the form table, I'm going to give you that spoiler alert right here, right now. So we cannot, it's not much we can really do, and I'm hoping that we can kind of bounce back a little bit and kind of give out a performance that we did against Hull back in January, where we turned out an amazing performance that ended their unbeaten streak. So with that in mind, obviously Lenihan is out. Perhaps you could play Williams as centre-back alongside Rodwell or Mulgrew, I don't know. But I am, believe it or not, going to go opt for this. Ryder goal, Bell, Rodwell, Mulgrew, Nyambe, Evans returning, Travis, Dack, Armstrong, Reed, and Graham up top. It does leave Brereton, Rothwell. Who else do we have? Smallwood on the bench, Williams as well, Conway, to name but a few. But maybe, just maybe, they'll throw in some youngsters, I don't know, to kind of spice it up a little bit, kind of maybe a surprise factor. What's his name? Butterworth or somebody like that, just to kind of give us some other options from the bench that maybe North End aren't expecting. Anyway, let's take a look at the stats now. For Rovers, obviously Dack is top scorer with 14 goals. Graham now has 12. Mulgrew has 10, double digits for him. And Adam Armstrong has 8. As for discipline, Smallwood has 8 yellows, so does Lenihan. Bennett and Evans both have 6. As for the Reds, Williams and Smallwood have red cards. Williams has actually 2 of them, so not too great for him. As for the last 5 fixtures, it's not good reading, folks. Obviously, last time out, we did lose 5-goal thriller to Rotherham 3-2. Before that, we did pick up a 2-2 draw at St Andrews. That was against Birmingham. Before that, back on the 17th of Feb, we did lose at home to Middlesbrough 1-0. And then going back onto the 13th of Feb, we lost again against Reading at the Majewski 2-1. And all the way back, 9th of Feb, we lost again at home against Bristol City. So at least 2 defeats at home. We'll have a look at a more in-depth look at the form book. Next 5 fixtures, it's not good reading though, really, folks. Obviously North End this weekend, then it's Wigan just around the corner, both those games at Ewood Park. Then it's Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, that's on the 16th of March. Before a break, a bit of a little mini break perhaps for Rovers. Then we take on Villa at Villa Park on 30th of March, and then we take on Stoke City in the month of April. That's the 6th of April, and it's at Ewood Park. Now let's take a look at Preston. Obviously, again, they do have a huge absence, and that's Ben Pearson, very, very key instrument in their engine. He is the only absentee, no registered injuries as well. This is the expected lineup, a similar formation to us. Rudd, Ingo, Hughes, Davies, Story, and Fisher, Johnson, Ledson, Brown, Gallagher, Potts, and Maguire. Now, Gallagher, ex-Rover, we know about him. Potts is a player we were linked with earlier in the season as a potential Dack replacement, but obviously he's gone to Preston North End, so they didn't waste no more time, snapped him up, and he's come on, and he's looked very, very decent indeed. Brown in the middle of the park is my key man. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. He is my key man for the game. Also, Robinson as well could feature from the bench. He could even start. I think he was on the bench last time out, so he could be a lethal weapon. Anyway, Brown does have 11 goals. Robinson has 10. Barkhausen has 7. Johnson has 6. As for the Yellows, Pearson has 10. Fisher has 7. Johnson has 6. Davis has 6 into the Reds now. Pearson has 2 reds. Lesson has 1. And Earl has 1 red card. So 4 red cards for the season. Quick look at the last 5 results for Preston. It does look pretty reading for them. North End last time out picked up a 1-1 draw at Deepdale against Bristol City. Before that, they went down to the Den and they won 3-1. Before that, they drew with Nottingham Forest at Deepdale 0-0. Back in the 13th of Feb, they were one of the only sides of recent times beating Norwich City 3-1. A comfortable win there. And then all the way back on the 9th of Feb, they took on Bolton Wanderers down at the Macron and they won 2-1. Now the next 5 fixtures for ambitiously playoff chasing Preston North End. Obviously Rovers this weekend. Then take on Middlesbrough midweek next week at the Middlesbrough's Gaff. Then they take on Birmingham City back at Deepdale, 16th of March. Then they entertain Reading at the Majeski, 30th of March, before entering the month of April up against Sheffield United at Deepdale. Now, let's take a look at those form table for you. This is the last 6 games, and it is very, very dire reading, folks. We are stone cold bottom. As for Preston, though, they sit nice and pretty in 4th spot, just 3 points shy of Norwich. These are the last 6 games, all in all. Rovers' only kind of highlight is that draw against Birmingham. Before that, 4 defeats before that, and basically 5 out of 6. It's not great. Quickly at the home form, though. Rovers a little bit better. Still in mid-table there. 12th spot for the home form, which includes 3 wins and the last 6. So we need to get back to those winning ways to kind of get the feel-good factor back at Ewood Park right now, because that was our fortress, folks. But now recently teams have been picking up points and picking results against us. As for the away side, we're looking at Preston here, and look at that. They are top of the pops, winning 4 of the last 6 away games. 4 on the spin as well. So that's good form for them. Anyway, let's take a look at the last 6 home games for Rovers and the last 6 away games for North End. Obviously, Rovers' last 6. Most recently, I'm trying to look at this here, they lost to Borough, they lost to Bristol City, they did beat Hull 3-0, they did beat Ipswich, they did draw with Newcastle United, and they did beat West Brom. So it was a 4 game unbeaten streak there, but it's been snapped most recently. As for Preston's last 6 away games, won the last 4 against Millwall, Bolton, Stoke and QPR, but they did lose against Rotherham and they did lose against Sheffield Wednesday towards the back end of the start of the new year. Now, over the last 6 results for the 2 teams between Preston North End and Blackburn, obviously earlier in the season we did get spanked 4-1. That was back in November. Whew, rough game, that one. But you have to go all the way back to, where are we? When was the last time that we won? I think last time we won was at Deepdale, actually, 21st of November 2015. That was the last time that we pulled off a victory against North End. So they're coming into this in good recent form in the league, and they've also coming into this in good recent form in the last time that over the previous fixtures. So it's been a while since we've kind of beat them. There's always been goals in it, though. Look at least 3 goals in the last 6 fixtures between the 2 sides. And most recently 4-5 goals between them, so it could be a goal bonanza, and obviously a little bit of local pride on the line. Okay, quick look at some of the strengths and weaknesses here. I'll suggest you pause the screen here and take a look at that yourself. There's a lot of data to cover there. Counter-attacks is Preston's strength. As for Rovers, shooting direct from free kicks, stealing the ball from opposition. We like to close them down a little bit. We have been throwing in long balls recently because we just cannot get things going at the moment. Attacking down the left and attacking through the middle. On the flip side, Preston's weaknesses, they're not good at defending counter-attacks and defending set pieces. So maybe, just maybe, it'll be an opportunity for Mulgrew to do his business again. What else is going on this weekend in the Championship? We'll take a look at it. Norwich City will entertain Swansea. This is a Friday game between the leader and Swansea, who have not had the greatest season. Sheffield United take on Rotherham in a bit of a local affair. Derby County against Sheffield Wednesday, also pretty meaty there. QPR take on Stoke. Reading against Wigan down the bottom of the table. Bristol City against Leeds, that's fruity. Obviously, Rovers against North End, that's the highlight of the weekend. Nottingham Forest against Hull City, that's a tasty one as well. Bolton against Millwall, another strugglers encounter. Middlesbrough against Brentford. West Brom against Ipswich. And Birmingham against Villa in the Old Midlands Derby. Now, quick look at the table for you. Norwich still top of the pops. Leeds are in second, 2 points clear, or adrift, should I say. Sheffield United, West Brom, Middlesbrough, and Bristol City occupy the top, the playoff spots. As for the bottom 3, it's Ipswich, Bolton, and Rotherham, with Reading, Millwall, and Wigan looking over their shoulders. Now, also before we get into the meat of the action, quick look at the top goal scorers. Timo Pukki still tops the pops with 24 goals this season. Billy Sharp is hot on his heels with 22. Tammy Abraham has 21. So does Che Adams, and a whole host of other players in there. Down the bottom there is the key assist makers. Hernandez is the main man, alongside Benarama and Jukawewicz. They all have 11 and 10 assists, respectively. Okay, you've heard a little bit what I've had to say about the match. Now what you really want to hear is what the opposition fans are going to think about this match. I'm joined by Jordan Davidson, and he is a Preston North End supporter and is with me live via Skype. So first and foremost, for my small corner of the YouTube audience, tell them why on earth you support Preston North End.
Started going on, I couldn't get enough of it.
Couldn't get enough of it.
It's as simple as that, really.
Well, see a little bit about my history. I actually used to live in Bamber Bridge, and then we moved to Lostock Hall. So I was in and amongst the Preston. It was my school kids. They either supported North End, United, or Rovers. So I got kind of sucked up in the Rovers boys at that point. Anyhow, so what we're going to do here today is kind of like a mid-season overview. I talk about, because North End obviously had a terrible start to the season, but are on fire at the moment. So we're going to kind of have a quick revisit some of the old players and all that kind of good stuff. So first and foremost, who has been your standout? Who do you think has been Preston North End's best player this season?
Oof. If you'd have asked me that the first 10 games, I wouldn't have been able to answer that, but I can answer that now. Best player has definitely been Ben Pearson. Just look what happens when he is banned. Absolutely crumble.
All right.
I think we've played about 7 league games without him this season. I'm not sure how many. We've only won 1.
Wow. He is influential player. Okay, and now on the flip side, who has been your absolute worst, the shocker of the season from a North End point of view?
Whew. Could be a couple of choices. There's obviously a new signing being Graham Burke, who, he's a new signing, but he's not really impressed. When I've seen him, he's been a bit poor. And then another one that, as much as it does pain me to say this, but Huntington's been a bit poor. He's been much of a liability this season. I love the guy. He's a cult hero, but he's getting on. Getting on
a bit. Time for him to maybe move on. Pastures new. Okay, what about going through maybe the youth ranks? And anyone that's broken through that has got a promising future at North End?
Well, I'm looking at some of the players. Josh Earl looks like he might be good. Eventually, as a left back. I've looked at Adam O'Reilly. He got I think he came on against Villa. I know it was about that time. They look decent with Ethan Walker as well. So I'm excited about the prospects of those young players.
Cool. Now, I think you guys had a very, very busy January transfer window. I'm not too sure what went on at the start of the season, but very active in the transfer window in January. Overall, with both windows combined, who's been...
We're going to sign a whole team at some point.
I tell you, there were some players that, like Brad Potts? We were looking at him, possibly. We did nothing. We did pretty much nothing in the window. But out of those two windows combined, who's been your best signing?
Ooh, I mean, it's out of 3 for me. Brad Potts obviously is one of the 3, and the other 2 is actually from the summer transfer window, despite as maybe poor as it's been, because of how good they've been recently. Andrew Hughes and Jordan Story, they've been absolutely quality. Possibly. Just mad. I'm going to go with Jordan Story because of how good he's been next to Ben Davis.
And I think I'm not too sure, but I think they were not mega buck deals. They were kind of reasonably priced.
Oh, we never do mega buck deals. Most of the players we buy for like under 100 grand.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, especially...
Daniel Johnson plays well. Sometimes he's like 50 grand.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, now you covered 3 guys there. What about, I think you might have touched on it a little bit as well earlier, your worst signing in those 2 windows?
It was probably, I would have to say, probably Graham Burke.
Okay.
He's been poor. I do hope he proves me wrong at some point, but it's just not worked out for him so far.
Got ya. Okay, now, obviously, there's players renowned for their skill and flair, and there's other ones renowned for coming in with a bit of a heavy tackle, or maybe a flying fist or an elbow. Who's your tough nut within North End's team this year?
There's only one man, isn't there? So it's the only one man, Ben Pearson. Oh, he's banned for our games, so that makes it about, I don't know, 100 times harder already. So.
So what? Because I didn't know that. So he's not going to be playing this weekend.
Oh, he's not going to be playing. No, he's been banned.
That is a stroke of luck.
Cards. He got to 10 yellow cards, meaning he was banned for 2 games.
Nice. Who's the other one he'll miss?
I'm not sure who else we'll miss, to be honest, because we've basically got everyone else that's playing really well.
Right.
I've heard that Callum Robinson could be back, but on the bench.
He scored against us last time out, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did. He did that celebration in front of the fans.
Yeah.
I didn't see it because I was just in the absolute limbs, but...
Okay. Now, you covered tough nut. What about who's the most overrated? Who gets a lot of plaudits that you think is not really justified? You know, we sometimes Bradley Dack does stuff, but you know he's kind of dipped a bit. But for you, who's the most overrated within Deep Dell?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who's to pick. Because a lot of the good players that get the plaudits kind of deserve them. And I'm not sure whether to say about one of the bad players because they don't get plaudits. So.
Oh, well, we'll move on to that one in a second. But, I don't know. Who's the current man between the sticks for Preston these days? What about him?
Declan Rudd, but he's playing well.
He is playing well.
If I'm to go with anyone, he's out on loan at the moment, but probably Chris Maxwell. If I'm going to go with anybody, because I probably have to say someone, I'm going to have to go with him.
Okay, we'll take that one. Okay, now this one should be a little easier. Who is the most underrated? Who doesn't get a lot of plaudits? Who's kind of get forgotten about?
I've not heard a lot of plaudits until recently of Andrew Hughes and how good he's been. He's been immense. And yeah, he's really good.
Okay, now, during my youth, I do recall a lot of North End fans chanting on about Tony Ellis, goal-scoring machine way back when. This was going back in the early 90s, right? So I remember Tony Ellis.
I've never heard a chant about him ever.
No, but it was like Tony Ellis, and I think he's on the books. He's actually just taken over as caretaker of a lower league club. I can't remember who it is right now. But anyway, who is your all-time favourite Preston North End player?
Tough question. Tough question. I mean, there's obviously the obvious. He's got Stan name after him, but obviously that's well before my time. So I'm only going to go about players that I've actually been playing whilst I've been born.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously Joe Garner scoring all those goals to help us get promoted. Then there's obviously Jermaine Beckford scoring all those goals to get us promoted again. Hat-trick in the playoffs final. And then there's a few that are still here, with obviously being Paul Gallagher one, Paul Huntington, Tom Clark. But I'm going to go with one man for one reason only. Who put the ball in the Blackpool net? Tom Clark.
Tom Clark, alrighty, good stuff. Okay, so let's say if you could have a magical wand and you could swipe one other player from another championship side, whether it's someone from Norwich or even, believe it or not, someone from Ipswich Town, who would you nick and why?
Ooh, there's a lot of good players. One my mind instantly springs to is Jared Bowen. He's just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely unreal. He's sky's the limit for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the summer he's probably going to get a move to the Premier League.
Yep.
Most very, very likely.
Second, but yep, I'm with you on that one.
I think I'll probably take Jared Bowen.
Okay. Now, obviously, terrible start for North End this season, but back in the thick of things now. Where do you ultimately think you're going to finish at the end of the season?
Probably maybe 10th or something like that.
Okay.
I'd be satisfied.
Yep.
Well, about 10th.
You got a good thing going on at North End. Good young manager, and now he's bringing in his own players. And hopefully you will next season. You probably won't be. Well, hopefully you won't have another nightmare start like you did this season.
Shouldn't do.
Yeah,
do.
I think the foundations are good. Foundations are good at North End. Okay, now this is it. The money question here. In fact, obviously. Yeah, within the division, I don't even know if I should really ask this, but who's the team you hate the most and why?
What, just in the division?
Yes.
Oh, Well, if you hadn't have said just in the division, then it would have been very, very, very obvious. However, I mean, you don't really need to ask me this.
I know. I just read the next line. I was like, do I really need to go there? Do I really? Okay, well, we'll kind of sidebar that one. We'll kind of push that one out of the way. Okay, here we go. Obviously, you did us a number at Deepdale early in the season. Completely ripped us a new one. What's the final score going to be this Saturday, though, at Ewood Park?
Well, without Ben Pearson, it's going to be a very different story. Yeah. I could see a lot of goals being scored by both teams. And a high-score draw is what I think. Like a 2-3.
Okay, right. Just before you, because can you just repeat that bit because it kind of blipped out a little bit. I got the high-scoring draw, but then I didn't get you the actual number.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 2-2, 3-3, because I really see either of the teams winning the game.
Well, I've actually looked briefly at the form table. We're rock bottom. I think Preston must be either in the top 4 or something like that. You guys are on fire. So you're playing us at the right time, but nothing like a bit of a local rivalry to kind of maybe restart our engines and, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, Jordan, I'm going to let you get out of it. Hopefully we can hear from you on the post-match game, like after the game. Give me your verdict.
I actually do match day vlogs, so yeah. So
perfect.
That one will probably be up on Saturday.
Okay, well, hey, make sure you ping me your channel or your details so I include it in this video, and then folks can go check out a North End point of view. But anyway, until we hear from you on Saturday, I'm going to let you get out of here.
Bye.
Now, over the years, a number of players have played for both Blackburn Rovers and Preston North End. Here are just 3 of them. Now, some of these, there's some real dodgy photos. But this one is Marlon Brooms. That's right, came through the ranks, the youth academy back in the day, around about the 94, 95 era. He was just on the cusp of that. He also donned the lily white Preston North End jersey, I think more times than he did for Rovers. Now, it is a bit of a bad picture for you. But Colin Hendry, that's right. Obviously, a couple of spells with Rovers, sandwiched in with other clubs, Coventry City, perhaps, Rangers as well. But he also played, believe it or not, for Preston North End. This is the only picture I could find. Very pixelated. I do apologise, but that's the best I could find. And how about this guy, Elliot Ward? Another pixelated picture there. He did play at least 5 times for Preston North End on loan, maybe 2010. But also he did rock the blue and white halves for Blackburn Rovers. Now, if you want to check out a full list of all the players that have played for both Blackburn Rovers and Preston North End, head over to my WordPress site. Details to that bad boy in your description below. Now, you've heard a little bit what I have to say about the match, and you've heard what the opposition fans have had to say. Now, what you really want to hear is what cast the cat as predicted for the outcome between Rovers and the North End boys, the Nobbers. Let's take a look. That's all I've got for you today, folks. That's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a good old thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, World Football related. We've got it all here under one roof. Also, check out the old description. Links to my other social media platforms are in there. And also, while I still have you, make sure you drop your own, whatever you think is going to happen in the old game below. What are you looking forward to? Can Rovers bounce back? Because we are looking absolutely woeful at the moment. We need to turn it around. Because obviously, every team has a blip in the season. We've had a few blips in the season. This is probably the worst blip of the campaign. And we need to kind of end it strongly, I think. And there's a lot of fans are getting on the back of Mowbray, and they're just not feeling it at the moment. And there's a lot of fans actually want him out. which is quite bizarre. I'm feeling that, you know, give him another season, at least another transfer window, see if he can actually improve the squad, to bring in 5 or 6. I'm still saying 5 or 6 experienced players to come in to do the business and turn the ship around, because we've given these League One Rovers boys a go, and they had a good half a season, but obviously, you know, I think you do need a lot more depth than what we have. We need another keeper that's knocking on the door of Raya. We definitely need at least 2 centre-backs, strong centre-backs. I don't mind playing Mulgrew, Rodwell, you know, and well, Lenihan I think is a decent centre-back for the future. But Rodwell, Mulgrew, in and out as centre-backs, you know, and maybe we can deploy Mulgrew or Rodwell as defensive midfielders. But, you know, we need to have actual square pegs in square holes, not sticking players, and that's been the problem. It's been a long-term problem for Rovers. We've, you know, since Lambert's days or since Coyle's days, even playing players out of position. It's a little bizarre, and I don't know why they don't fix it. So maybe it's just been hard to bring in the personnel. But anyway, I can't talk about. I could just ramble on and on and on about that. We could do that another time. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here until I see you again, which will be in this guys in a detailed or instant match review shortly after the final whistle. Actually, be on the road. I'm actually going away this weekend, but I'll still catch the game, obviously on iFollow and all that. But anyway, until then, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date. All things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.